seek something out of social media is because once you're physical, there's not much that you can hide. Like whenever I'm communicating with someone, I constantly look in their eyes because that's the one thing that I can't really hide too much about. Even though it's really hard to identify, through body language.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's sort of easy to identify how you feel through your eyes, but that's all physical.
So what does that say when you're talking to somebody that can't even look into your eyes? What does that say?
Well, you want to be very careful because.
Welcome back to another episode of the Mendable podcast. I'm your boy G, and with my co-host Arturo.
You gonna make it. Yeah. Keep your head up. You're a king. You're a queen. You got this. Sleepless grandma.
Yes, sir. Welcome to another episode of the Mendable podcast. I'm your host G, with the one and only Arturo. First and foremost, I just want to thank God to take this opportunity for us to be here and with this new episode. Man, I'm just so glad that we're going to be able to deliver this message. And thank God for another day, another blast, another grind, another day for us to better ourselves. And it's always another chance for us to better ourselves. And before we go on, I'm going to let Arturo take over and just pick it up where we left off from the last episode.
Right. So today's episode is very similar or somewhat taken back to the previous things we mentioned on previous episode. So just to give a little recap, on previous episodes we talked about needs and wants. And before we dive a little deeper, I want to sort of summarize what our definition of what needs and wants are. So Jelson, if you don't mind, can you sort of give a small definition of what needs and wants is?
Yeah. So one needs what wants, and I think the definition, a very simple definition that we get define the things that you need and the things that you want, and it all comes to. You could just say the difference of things that you need. It could be like something that you see, really nice shoes, right? And you really want it because it's so nice. Or when you need something, man, how can I define that?
All right, I'll jump into
like right now. I'm just going into examples. I'm not really going to the straight definition.
That's okay.
How can the most simple way you can define?
So the one thing that we kept referencing on previous episodes was that your needs are related or associated with your. It's internal. It's something that's essential for your surviving, for your well-being. So a need is a necessity. So anything related to food, water, shelter, security, those are very essential things that you need to survive, to live a healthy life, because without it, you basically die. As opposed to your wants are external. They're basically influenced and by external things or people in this case. So it's all about your desire, things that you see, things that you want to have, things that you want to experience, but it's not necessarily essential. Without these things, you can still survive. You can still have a happy life. It's just things that you aspire to be, you aspire to have. So that's it. You want to add anything?
Yeah. You said it pretty much all. Like, it's just the necessities that you need, right? And I think it should be common sense for a lot of us, right? Especially as a teenagers, like especially for a baby, right? But like the baby wouldn't know the things that they need. But like as a teenager, you should be able to have a common sense of you need to drink water when you're thirsty. You need to eat when you're hungry, when you feel hungry, and
your needs are very easy to identify because your body kind of tells you what you sort of need in order to continue to move forward, in order to go on to the next day. I think the most difficult thing is identifying your how it differs from your wants. Sometimes we sort of make the mistakes of taking a want and thinking it's a need. Right. So that's the reason we're gonna talk about needs and wants today, because it's going to be highly difficult for a younger individual to identify which is which. So.
Yeah, and I still want to touch on the point that I was saying. So, like I was saying, like it's easier for somebody that's grown, has a lot of experience in life, right? Somebody that probably went through already a lot of trials and tribulations, just to realize that, or have an experience to anything that they will face, or anything that they're facing, or anything they're about to, or anything they see outside, right? Because first you need to realize your lifestyle, right? You realize your lifestyle, and as you go about what you do on a regular basis, you know the things that you need. You know, you should know the exactly amount of how much money you need to survive, right? How much money you need to pay your bills, how much money you need to in terms of grocery and etc. You know, now, as opposed to somebody that doesn't have a lot of experience, that's still growing to be a man or a woman, they're still in the process of like recognizing or going to a lot of failure of not knowing how to take care of the money, or just spending, not knowing the exact amount, how much money that they need to survive, or not even survive, just in terms of how much money they actually need to spend, and not get to the point of spending all the money, right? So like I remember like so many episodes, I think you always stop me in terms of like, I think I need to go through like bad experiences in the past, and you said no, you don't really need to go to bad experience, or you feel like you needed to learn those lessons to actually experiences. You can just watch from your elders, like you said. You know, I think
not just from your elders, but
from your peers or
your environment,
right?
Yeah, there are many ways you can experience things without having to really go through.
Yeah, and for somebody that's just focused, or somebody that is a follower, that just follow what they see, is they haven't got to the point to realize, yo, my lifestyle is way different than that person that I focus on, or social media, or like celebrity, or whatever, you know what I mean? So as opposed to somebody that's already at that level of experience wise, or knowing themselves, knowing who they are, or having a purpose, or having goals in your life, right? And it's new. It was so funny. It's like everything that has a high value of knowing who you are, knowing what you're about, knowing your purpose, knowing like.
So, just to quickly add on to what you're saying, you're basically saying, in order for you to reach a certain level in life, there are prerequisites that you need to hit before you reach that level.
Yeah, and like as we do the podcast and we talk about these topics, and we touch on these topics, man, it just gives you a good understanding of like, yo, there's so many things that, and it's actually the little things, right? Because as soon as you get to know who you really are, and you start seeing things differently, you know, the way you view things, it changes everything. And
just to push back on that, there's really no stage in your life where you figure this is who you truly are. Yes, you do get a better understanding of yourself as you age, but at every stage you find a different version of you, because you come to learn, you come to develop certain things about yourself that you didn't have before. So there's never this one goal where you become fully realized and fully actualized. It just keeps on going. With more experiences come a different version of you.
Yeah, it's not like you figure it out, but like once you actually get to know, like let's say like last episode we were talking about happiness, right? Well, the previous one, it's like when we say, like, as soon as you know the things that make you feel good about yourself on the inside, that's part of knowing who you are.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like once you really get to know, or just having a little understanding who I'm about, who I am, it's like everything that you go on and do, every decision that you make is based on that concept.
Right, and today's episode is closely focused upon identifying what your needs and wants, and striving to be the best version of yourself while sort of navigating through your needs and wants. And part of the reason we wanted to focus on this topic specifically is because of today's age of social media. In the past, we had several challenges of, looking at celebrities or looking to our elders and figuring out the sort of mistakes that they did and stuff of that nature. Even though we sort of still made some of those mistakes, we sort of learned over time. But as times have changed, we are no longer looking at people that we can relate to, people that we actually have a chance of becoming, but now we're looking at individuals through social media in which their lives are not so what they say it is. Right. So we sort of developed this idea that in order for us to be as popular, in order for us to be as happy and have these amount of friends, we have to be them, without realizing that the image and the idea that they put out there isn't really real. What are your thoughts on the kind of stuff that people normally put on social media?
Right. So, and it's like, man, I have so many. It's like this new thing on social media, right? Following the trend. The challenges, all the challenges that you see, like especially like on like TikTok and stuff like that, and like you see people like they feel that they have to be part of those challenges. You know, they like it could be a stupid challenge. And even today, I think at work, I was like talking to one of my co-workers, and then it's just like, yo, we're like, there's actually challenges on TikTok that you slap people with ham on their faces. You know what I mean? And it's just like, yo, and there's so like you see a group of people that's just like hashtagging and doing those challenges. Don't get me wrong, that's entertaining.
Yeah.
But like, it's just the fact that the new generation, they feel that they have to be part of those challenges. They feel like, yo, I have to do this, so I can get the attention. You know what I mean? Or like let's say focus on the people who are.
So specifically focusing on the thing that you just stated, that people feel like they need to. Do you think it's a new form of peer pressure? You know, the type that you normally go through in high school and stuff like that. Do you think it's the same?
Yeah, I think it's the same because, like, let's say if you don't really know like what you are about, what's the main purpose why you're on social media, right? So you tend to do whatever is out there, right? For you to follow that trend, for you to stay, reinvent yourself in a way following the new trend. Instead of you sticking to why you even in the first place on the social media. Because I understand for the people who's just on social media for fun, and I understand for people who are on social media for...
So before we go any further, I just want to clarify, this goes for the both of us, that I don't feel any ill will towards social media, and I don't think you do either.
Right.
I do understand that in the times that we're on today, social media is sort of essential. Is really no way of escaping it, and that's why we decided to focus today's episode on social media, so that you can sort of know how to navigate your way through it, so that it doesn't negatively affect you. Because at the end of the day, it's a tool, and as long as you know the tools in place to protect you from all the negativity, then you're good. So go ahead.
Right. Yeah, it's good you said that, because like I did so many videos on social media before. I talk about social media before. I took a break from social media, and I had to really get deep into myself and really ask myself questions and really have a better understanding like why I'm on social media, because there's times I really question myself, like, yo, do I really need to be on social media? Do I really need social media? But it's just like with my purpose, with my intentions and things that I want to bring into the world, and to inspire people or just change, like share my lifestyle. That's the reason I'm on social media. You know what I mean? So, and I don't judge on anybody who's on social media using for their needs. You know what I mean? Or the wants too, right? Because people get their needs and wants on social media.
Right. So going back to a previous episode in which you were describing your early time here in Canada,
right,
when you first immigrated,
right,
and you didn't speak the language, and in school for you was difficult because you stood out as different.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure you sort of faced a bit of a peer pressure, or a bit of pressure to sort of how should I assimilate yourself into the high school culture in order for you to sort of be accepted. How different is that from physical school to online? How different is that? Is there a pressure to assimilate, to be like everyone else?
It's online is not as similar, because online you can just share. Even if I don't speak the language, I can act like I speak the language. So I could be somebody else online. But physically, if I'm actually there, so I have to try to be, it's either myself, or I could just copy somebody and try to really be somebody else that I'm not. But it's super hard. But eventually you really have to show up, the real you has to show up.
Right.
But online, you can just share the best highlight moments. I could just say the best words that I can pronounce so well that you might not even think that I have an accent.
Right. We do know that we as humans always take the path of least resistance.
Right.
And striving to be someone usually takes someone of high character, someone that's highly respected and valued by a lot of people, and normally takes a lot of work and a lot of time. And I think what you described is social media, you're sort of able to skip those steps, or hide those steps to be the person that you always wanted to be. Do you think that's what people strive for online?
That's what people strive for. Well, we can just say people in general. Well, a lot of people, that's what a lot of people strive for.
Right.
Because, and you can know like people personally that you know in real life, and you see them on social media, be like, whoa, you know what I mean? That's a different person over there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even like sometimes like you see people that you like, let's say co-workers, or like friends, ex-friends, or like friends that you used to be very close with in the past, right? And you see them on social media, right? Some people really change, but some people just like the whole different person when you see them online or whatever. But when you see them in real person, it's like it's not the same. Something's like not adding up. What's happening? But they have to keep up with that person that they are online.
Okay.
That image, they have to keep up with that image.
So given that we sort of established that the definition of a want is a desire,
right,
do you think that people can take something away of the persona they put online towards something that they want to be, something that they should work towards in order to feel happy about the real version of themselves?
Yeah, it could happen. It could happen. You know what I mean? You can really get inspired by seeing someone that has the same values of the vision of the person that you want to be. You know what I mean? You can try to follow what they do or the lifestyle, but you have to put on your own reality. And you try to take some things because that person has a different journey than you. Even though you want to be like, let's just say, for example, somebody like The Rock, right? The Rock, I love The Rock's routine. Like, I know his whole routine because he shares that all online and stuff like that, right? But I'm not The Rock. Even though we have like similar routines, like waking up early in the morning, doing like working out before we focus on go ahead and face the world, you know what I mean? We have similar routines that we do, right? But his lifestyle is totally different than mine. Like, I'll work a 9 to 5. He doesn't technically works a 9 to 5. He has his own schedule that it works for him. It's like, you know what I mean? So in my case, same thing, but I have a 9 to 5 in terms like I gotta really rely on the little time that I have. You know what I mean? Of course, it goes to work towards to the point where that you don't have a 9 to 5. You have your own. You are your own boss. You know what I mean? So you can create a kind of similar schedule that he has. You know what I mean? You get inspired to get to that level, but you have to know you're not him.
Nope.
So you have to find your own reality, right? And based on the things that you see it from the person that inspires you or the person that you feel like you want to be like. You know what I mean? So this is the things like when I started my self-development in the beginning, right? Every time I see somebody like has a high value, and I try to take like literally every pieces and beat like everything that they do, I try to put into my I'm gonna try this, like literally everything. But like over time I tend to get burned out because it didn't really work out for me.
Nope.
You know, there were certain things that did work out, but not everything. That just shows you that you really have to take little. That's why it's like when you can't just read one book and you
know everything about the
know everything. Not just necessarily know everything about the book. You can't just read one book and find all the answers that you in life. There's so many books. In one book, you might not find not even one answer that you're looking for. Even the title says, let's say you're looking for happiness, and the title say happiness. You might not even find the answer that you're looking for. Just because the book say happiness, everything that's in that book, it's not just one person's life stories. Just one person's experience, all life, one person's perspective. You know what I mean? That's why you have to. It continues. It's a process. You know what I mean? So it's just not somebody that you inspired or somebody that you admire doesn't have all the answers that you need. Doesn't have all the cheat codes that you're looking for. You know what I mean? It's like you really have to find your reality, and your reality you still have to go into experience. The best teacher in life is your own experience. I say that all the time. That's my best quote, because you really have to go into your own experience, your own reality, and face it, your trials and tribulations. But you have to. It's a process. It's not a race. It's a marathon, because there's gonna be like moments that you feel like you're running. You see it clearly. There's gonna be moments that you see it blurry. There's moments that you don't see nothing at all. You know what I mean? So it's like you really have to go and find and searching for knowledge and getting to know yourself, when you get to the point that, okay, I know what I want now. Now it's just, okay, I need this. And then you form a lifestyle where you're just following the things that you really need, not the things, and the things that you really need, and the things that you really want, it will just come. You know what I mean? It will come as soon as you know the things that you need. You know what I mean? And then it's not getting to the point that you don't really know the things that you need, and you're forcing things that you might want, not knowing the answers why you need that. You feel like you want it, but why do you need that?
Okay, so I just wanted to briefly summarize what you said.
Yeah.
I guess the main point that you were mentioning is that not everyone is compatible. We all have our strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
So I know sometimes we look at certain people that we aspire to be, and we want to be everything that they are. But certain things we're just not compatible at all levels. So you have to recognize what your strengths and weaknesses are, and you gotta take away things or try to pursue things that sort of align with your capabilities, with the kind of things that you can achieve. So that way you're putting yourself in the right path of succeeding. You're basically setting realistic expectations.
Yeah.
So that's about it. So you mentioned one point,
right,
in terms of like navigating and finding your way through social media. Is there another point that you can mention when it comes to finding your wants and addressing it into something positive? We all have desires. We all have a lot of things we want to aspire to be, but we have to recognize that certain ones are not healthy for us and other ones are positive. How do you think people today can identify what are some of their positive and negative ones?
Yeah, so let's say, for example, like you're on social media for fun, right? There's a lot of fun. There's a lot of entertainment, right? But you have to know what kind of fun you're looking for, you know, because you could get lost. You know what I mean? You could get to the point that you start scrolling, and you're all over the place. You know what I mean? But for someone that is on social media for fun, and you knowing that you're just going there for distraction, you knowing there to pass some time, to kill some time or whatever, and there's certain things that you focus on, like for fun, like comedy, funny video, embarrassing videos. There's a lot of stuff, but that comes with a lot of distraction. You know what I mean? Now, for someone that has a business, that's a different story than someone that's there for fun. Because if you're there for business, let's say you have a clothing brand,
Right.
then you shouldn't be there for fun. Your fun should be something else. It shouldn't be social media.
Well, even to add on to that, even if you're just a consumer, just doing it for fun, moderation is key, right? If you're over consuming something and you're spending most of your day just consuming whatever it is that you're seeing,
It can be addictive, very addictive.
Yes.
That's what social media does to you, right?
yes, I guess because it's so addictive,
Right.
you're really wasting away productive time that you could be putting into something else that will actually lead you to other positive things.
Right.
While you waste time is very precious.
Mm-hmm.
Time is the one thing that we can't get back.
Yeah,
And
but it's
so-
hard for a lot of people, for those that are just there for fun.
Yes. No. Yeah. But there's
you're
nothing
there-
wrong with having fun. Although the key point that I'm trying to mention is, as long as you moderate, as long as you don't overconsume,
Right.
that's fine. But if you're constantly there and wasting away your precious time and nothing productive is being done, that's where the problem lies.
That's where the problem lies, yes.
Yeah.
When you get distracted and not have a sense of, oh wow, just 1 hour just went by. You know what I mean? And like for somebody that has a business, same thing. Time could just go by quick because there's so much information, good information, right? That you can find about your business or whatever the type of business that you're running on social media, right? There's so many good informations. But at the end of the day, again, it goes back to what's your message? You still gotta be creative and be real with your message. Even with the information that you're gonna find, it's just an ideas for you to be creative with your message.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I guess my way of sort of transforming that habit or that activity into something positive is you could focus on the kind of things that you look at very often, and then figure out how you can turn that into something positive. Say, for example, you look at a lot of type of food. Maybe you can sometimes sometime within your day you can try cooking some of those foods that you normally see.
Yeah, because it's like there's some people that has pages that it gives you all like their information that you're looking for, like answers, like it's like YouTube, right? It comes with all the recipes. Some people actually go step by step. You know what I mean? So if you're really into cooking, like you said, it's like a recipe, you want to cook a really good meal, and you find that meal that you want to cook, and you follow that page that gives you all the recipes, and you're on that page and like actually follow step by step. That's really reliable page to watch. But you have to know when to go on that page and spend time. Is that the right word? Or do you research or just seeing what's the page, what's the new content on that page?
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's say, for a good example for me, right? At first I was just all over the place with social media. Even though when my first page on Instagram, it was just because everybody had it when when Instagram started, right? I didn't go on right away because I wasn't so big on social media, and so as your friends get it, of course, close friends, and you see them posting pictures, but you don't know. There's no really because you have Facebook, like Facebook, it was the same concept as Facebook, but Instagram at first was just pictures. You know what I mean? And as you go and learn more about it, and as it starts to get more popular, you'll be like, you know what, I'm gonna join it. And you join and you post a picture, then you have to write a caption under the picture. And you see Instagram started evolving more. Now you see businesses, now you see people being really creative with the pictures, art and stuff like that. But again, you just see all these changes. You're just going and scroll, and you see all these cool things that started evolving on Instagram. But it's just like you're still lost. You don't know why you're there. You think you're just there to show pictures and get likes, right? But when it came to a time once I started into really getting into my self-development and getting to know who I really am. So when I started the Sleepless Grandma page, and it was more about sharing what I was doing on a regular basis, like workout or clips and stuff like that. But I really got to a point that I started seeing why I'm on social media. But then again, it took time for me. Once I launched the business, it started really seeing the vision behind what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And you start seeing, of course, it's like more experiences. You growing up. You start seeing, and you're starting to know your values. You're starting to know the things that you need and the things that you want to get in life. You know what I mean? And then that's when you really have to make a decision. When you start to realize how much time is valuable for you. You know what I mean? Because once you realize your time, how much of need your time for your freedom to do stuff that you actually want to do, right? Social media plays a big part of it because there's a lot of distraction there. There's a lot of wants and desires that you want to get it from social media. You know what I mean? So that really good comes to you and make that decision. Okay, every time I go on the app and click on the app, what I'm looking for, what I'm there for. You know what I mean? And it's good how they set up the app, and you can set times. You know what I mean? And so if you are highly in the very driven, motivated individual, you know your needs. It comes to that. You know what I mean? You start realizing, when I'm here, I'm more focused on these things. I'm more focused on these kind of pages. And the app gives you option. The stuff that you click on the most is the stuff that's going to show in your homepage, on your feed. So you can actually choose to press on those things, not interested. And you just to choose the stuff that you look at. Let's say you only focus on businesses. The pages that you look on your feed is all businesses. It's only businesses that they're gonna recommend. The recommendation.
Not to say anything negative, but that could also be counterproductive.
Yeah.
In the sense that you could stay in longer because it has everything you want and everything you need.
Yes, but I'm saying, like I said, there's a difference between somebody that is not organized, that doesn't have a purpose, doesn't know why the value of the Instagram or whatever app that they're using, right? A really highly motivated individual that they know why they're there and they know how to use the app properly. You can set the app in a way that when you go into the app, you're not wasting your time.
Nope.
Yeah, so the point that I'm trying to make is I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with having restrictions in place.
Right.
I'm saying there's one essential element that you haven't mentioned yet.
What is it?
Self-restraint. You need that discipline. Without it, you can just stay in longer because it has everything that you wanted to see.
Right.
Right? It's personalized.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Yes.
It's super hard. You can say, I'm only going there for 30 minutes. You can even set the time. I'm only going for 30 minutes. But what happens after the 30 minutes is going to tell you, look, your time is up. But you can continue to stay.
Yes. Right. So my next question goes upon another thing that we can look on trying to resolve and put it and transform it into something positive.
Right.
So as human beings, we're wired for connection. Right. And with the emergence of social media, basically give us the idea that we will have all the connection that we need because we just take out our phones and we can be connected to anyone that we like, right? But as we have seen, it's sort of an illusion. Social media actually, to some extent, makes us feel much more lonelier because it gives us these numbers, right?
That's huge.
That it sort of gives us this illusion that these numbers are all our friends, but they're really not technically our friends. Like the kind of relationships that you normally have physical-wise is very different than the ones that you have on social media. Sometimes you begin to see that these words are sort of empty. They're not there really for your emotional support. So what are some measures that people could take in order to sort of develop real physical connection with people to fill that connection issue? Because the point that I'm trying to mention is that there is, for a lot of people that are on social media that are constantly there, is because they're seeking that connection, but social media isn't providing that. That's why they're constantly there just looking for that one person or that one group, or just a number of different people giving them the connection, giving them the social support that they've always been seeking. So outside of social media, do you have like things that people could do to find that connection?
Yes, but like even on social media, before I go outside of social media, right? So there's this thing that said live video. You can go live. So when you go live, let's say you go live with someone on social media and actually have a conversation instead of just messaging or just through pictures and stuff like that, or just DM. You can actually live. You know what I mean? If you have you want to get a connection to the people who support you, if you have a business. If you go live most of the times, the people want to see who you really are. Well, you can be somebody else, but you still have to show who you are, what you are about. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I think live can really show some of characteristics of the individual.
I would like to disagree because we talked about this earlier before the podcast began, is that whenever we are being filmed and we're aware of it, there's a different filter that we put in place. Well, there's a different filter for every version of ourselves depending on the person that we're interacting with.
Okay.
So when we're behind the camera, we're not really ourselves. We're putting on the best image of ourselves because we know we're being watched by or being listened to by a number of different people. So we want them to perceive us in the way that we want to be perceived. So we're not generally ourselves. The reason I say to seek something out of social media is because once you're physical, there's not much that you can hide. Like whenever I'm communicating with someone, I constantly look in their eyes because that's the one thing that I can't really hide too much about. Even though it's really hard to identify, through body language.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's sort of easy to identify how you feel through your eyes, but that's all physical.
So what does that say when you're talking to somebody that can't even look into your eyes? What does that say?
Well, you want to be very careful because people have different cultures, and they just want looking into someone else through different cultures could be a sign of disrespect.
Yeah.
So other people might interpret that as different, but there are other things that you can pay attention to. But everyone is different.
I think you're right. But I still have a hard time agreeing with what you said, with being behind the cameras.
You don't have to
ourselves, because I'm being very carefully, but I'm still me. I'm still and I'm being honest, right? And of course, I'm trying to articulate what people could really understand. You know what I mean? This is really how I speak. But of course, like you said, in terms the way we act in front of different people, especially let's say people that you really close, like family members, you show some sides that when people see you, be like, whoa, I didn't know you like this kind of thing. I don't know how you act this way. You know what I mean? So, but I don't feel like I'm acting somebody that's not me.
It's hard, but it's a subconscious thing, right?
Right.
The more you know someone, the more you're comfortable with them, the more you're going to show and do things much more differently than someone else at work, someone else at the gym, right? It's a different filter.
Yeah, but
it's not completely
But being behind the camera right now, right? You don't have an idea who's gonna watch. Yeah. Even though it says how many people watch, or it says how many likes you get. You don't know, right? So, and I always tell you, right? Every time I'm behind the camera, right? So, I focus on the people who needs to hear, the people who should hear, the people who can relate to, the people who are about to face some of the answers that they're looking for.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I focus on those things that it helps me being comfortable and being honest, because I'm focused to help somebody.
Okay, so I'm gonna clarify what I said. I don't think that was very clear. So in the same way that you find groups with some similar values and principles, or movies or games that you share, it's quite easy for you to be yourself because you have a lot of similarities. You have there's a common ground, right? So you can be yourself much easier, and especially online because it's all behind the screen, right? So the point that I'm trying to make is you can take those skills and try to put it into other things, other physical things, like say, for example, you find a lot of joy in cooking. You decide to register for a cooking class.
Okay.
You know that in this cooking class, you'll find people with similar interests to you because you also like cooking, right? Or you like the gym, right? And you like building yourself and developing your body to a very good physique.
Or
right?
if you have a goal for yourself.
You attend gym, and you try to have conversations with people on the gym, and you will find a common ground. It's just you gotta go out and try and take a risk, because if you're constantly doing online, what you do, it's like they're two sets of worlds, right? And if you're constantly doing this, remember what we said about people taking the path of least resistance?
Yeah.
That's basically online, right? If you don't take the hard path of doing it face to face, you're not really gonna develop the skills to develop your level of interactions, right? You won't know how to do it, even though you might have thousands of friends and whatever online.
That's what's easy, right?
Yes. You gotta try the hard thing in order
media.
to really build the real skills.
And that goes to anything that we do in life. If you do what's easy, your life will be hard.
Yes.
If you do what's hard, your life will be easy.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Right. And that's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah.
So moving on to my last point, it's something that you mentioned in regards to addiction, right? And I wanted to focus on finding a way to deal with your boredom, right? Because I think in today's time, we're not adapt to dealing with our boredom because we have something at our demand at any point, right? Say, for example, you're feeling bored, there's nothing to do, there's always a solution. You grab your phone, you're onto something. So what are some strategies to avoid, you mentioned one, having restrictions in place and not using your phone all the time. What are some other solutions in place that you can do to avoid always going through your phone?
It's not really a solution. You have to just have other things where you can do and keep yourself busy. You know what I mean? So, but time management is really big on that because I'm really big on time management. And sometimes I get really distracted because I'm that kind of person when I feel like I'm not doing something productive, I feel like I'm just slacking. I feel like I'm just being useless. You know what I mean? So I always have to find myself busy, which also I had a lot of problem in the past. Like I always had to be doing something, and of course it gets to the point where you don't know how to balance. You don't know when it's time for fun. You don't know when it's time to actually go do something productive. You know what I mean? You have to have a time for everything. You know what I mean? Like I know it might sound crazy. Like you can just have time. Like let's say, like especially when you come back from work, let's say you work in the morning, right? You come back from work, you have the rest of the evening. You can literally break down, like, look, I'm gonna have some time to eat dinner. I'm gonna have time to watch some TV. I'm gonna have time to go and work on something or read a book or whatever. I'm gonna have time to go like on social media or watch some TikTok videos or something. It's just really you organizing your schedule to the point where you get to have time to fun and time for work and time to focus on yourself. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's just like, it's not that easy as we speak. You know, talk is cheap. Every time, talk is cheap. But like everything that I'm saying, do I actually do this? Yes, I do it. But some days it's hard to actually stay organized and keeping track of time and really watching or being aware how you're using your time. You know what I mean? It takes one day at a time for you to have a routine where you know, look, this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna, after dinner, like especially like for me, for example, like I know I got a wife, I got a daughter, right? So I gotta make time for my family, you know. And me being so addicted to just work in terms of like working on myself or like working out, like doing so much things all at once. Sometimes I lost track of spending time with my wife. You know what I mean? Sometimes like, I didn't even get to play with my daughter. I was so focused on working on this assignment. You know what I mean? Or like watching this video or like creating content. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's like, I gotta make time for them. I gotta make time to like actually spending a whole dinner with my family and actually like and enjoying the time. You know what I mean? So it's all about like just have self-awareness, you know, of just time management. And this is the things like when you tend to put your mind and focus on the things that you want to accomplish or your things you want to work on, your mind actually gonna force you and help you. I'll give you like hints. What you the things? I'll bring your answers. But that's when you focus on those things that you wanna like work on. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when you have a question and you just keep thinking about that question, eventually you get the answer. And that's all in your mind. Eventually you get the answer. But if you distract it all over the place, you never find that answer. You know what I mean? That's one thing I realized now. It's like, if you really stay organized and you have time for everything, meaning like you're having an organized schedule on a regular basis. So whenever it's just that time for that one thing, you should be able to get to focus just on that one thing. You know, be able to actually be there in the moment. Now, when you're not organized, you're all over the place. It's just hard to focus on that one thing, being present on the one thing that you want to focus on. You know what I mean? So I just say have self-awareness. And having self-awareness, man, and again, it doesn't get easier than that. Talk is cheap.
All right, just to give my thoughts and add in a little bit to what you said. It actually goes back to a previous episode we covered back when we were giving a recap on your accident. I think with any sort of addiction, we sort of become hyper-focused towards fulfilling that pleasure, getting that dopamine, right? And whenever we're doing that, we're negating essential things that our body needs, our mind needs. And we only come to find out when the consequences are dire, when your health is on the line. And that's when usually people tend to take the strides to better themselves, right? So people have the ability to change, but it's really hard until things are dire. And it's not impossible. I think at the end of the day, I don't really see too much wrong with consuming things on social media. I just think that there should be a moderation. You should have something that you described, some sort of like a time management app that monitors how much time you spend and put it and then restrict it and then have you do other things. Because by doing that, it clears your mind and allows you to address other things that might need your attention. And that's always really important. So to finalize my thoughts on today's episode, I want to clarify that although we are a little bit older, and so the way that we see things is a little bit different than the younger generation, because they have a different perspective on things, and obviously we have a different perspective because we experience different things. So all that we are saying might not be true, it might not be relatable, because we might have a biased opinion in certain things, but it's always important to consider other people's thoughts and then make your own conclusions from it.
See on your own perspective.
You always have to be critical of everything that's being said and then make your own judgments of it. So all that we're just providing is our own opinions and just solutions to navigate through social media today in terms of finding your needs and your wants. And that's very, very clear that you said, like,
Man, just like really working on yourself and finding, like if you're on social media, finding the things that you're interested on, the things that you follow in your vision, your goals, things that you want to accomplish, right? Even when you see what you see outside, not just on social media, right? Try to see on your own perspective and try to get a better understanding. When you have questions, ask questions. If you don't ask one, like let's say if you're not good at asking questions, then you search for answers, for questions, like books, podcasts. There's all those things that I like when I come in here and speak. It's all experiences that I face in life, experiences that I know through myself development in terms of like reading books and listening to podcasts, listening to motivational speech, and or like even like having online classes on like based on self-development. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, like we don't even want to go so far with this. There's so much more that you can talk about when it comes to needs and wants. But like I think it was pretty straightforward what we said, you know.
Yeah, just one final closing thoughts. As mentioned before, social media is a tool, and just like with any tool, there are positive and negatives to it, and you should strive for a balance between the two, because there are valuable things that you can learn from social media that you can take into the real world, physical world, and apply it. Just like the same way that you can take physical skills from the physical world and take it in social media and then make something out of yourself and monetize it. So the two complement each other very well, and it's just important to know what works for you and what doesn't.
Yeah. So we're gonna end it here. Thank you for staying tuned and listening to us, and keep being supportive. If you can share this message, share, like, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed just yet, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.